These dishes are nostalgic and filled with comforting flavors. Number 1. Beef and potato casserole. Beef and potato casserole is a classic comfort dish cherished for its simplicity and versatility. This casserole typically combines seasoned ground beef and sliced potatoes in a creamy, flavorful sauce, layered or mixed together, then baked until everything melds into a delicious, satisfying meal. The beauty of this dish lies in how the flavors and textures complement each other. The ground beef provides a savory depth, while the potatoes add a tender, earthy quality. To enhance the flavor, many recipes add onions, garlic, or even bell peppers, which give a subtle sweetness and a hint of complexity. Some variations also include cheese, which melts into the sauce, adding richness and creating a gooey, indulgent texture throughout the casserole. Traditional recipes may call for a roux-based sauce made from butter, flour, and milk to coat the beef and potatoes, while others use canned condensed soups for convenience. The casserole's adaptability makes it perfect for leftovers, as it reheats well and allows flavors to deepen overnight, making it an ideal meal for busy families or large gatherings. Number 2. Dutch oven meatloaf with crackers. Dutch oven meatloaf with crackers is a unique twist on traditional meatloaf, combining nostalgic flavors with the distinct cooking method of a Dutch oven. In this version, crushed crackers replace traditional breadcrumbs, adding an unexpected texture and richness. Crackers not only enhance the flavor, but also act as tenderizers, absorbing the meat's juices during cooking, which helps to create a moist and flavorful loaf. Cooking in a Dutch oven allows the meatloaf to bake evenly while locking in steam and juices, resulting in a perfectly tender center and a slightly caramelized outer crust. The Dutch oven's heavy lid keeps the moisture in, intensifying flavors and preventing dryness, which is often a risk in conventional meatloaf. This method was particularly popular in earlier decades, as Dutch ovens were widely used for their versatility in both indoor ovens and outdoor fire cooking. Some recipes also include chopped onions, Worcestershire sauce, or even a dash of mustard, which gives depth and balances the richness of the beef. The ketchup glaze, often spread on top halfway through baking, caramelizes beautifully in a Dutch oven, creating a sweet and tangy contrast that elevates each slice. Number 3. Beef Paprikash. Beef paprikash is a rich, Hungarian-inspired dish that draws its flavor primarily from paprika, an essential spice in Hungarian cuisine. This dish often starts with browning beef cubes until they form a savory crust, which enhances the overall depth of the stew. The browned beef is then simmered slowly in a base of onions and garlic, releasing natural sweetness that complements the smoky heat of the paprika. Hungarian paprika, known for its vibrant red color and slightly sweet flavor, is key to authentic paprikash and is typically added generously to achieve a bold, distinctive taste. The sauce base often includes broth or water, creating a light, soupy consistency that becomes velvety as it reduces. Many variations of beef paprikash incorporate sour cream near the end of cooking, which adds a creamy tang, balancing the warmth of the paprika. Some recipes may add a splash of vinegar or lemon juice, which cuts through the richness and brightens the overall flavor profile. Traditional versions are usually served over egg noodles or dumplings, which absorb the sauce beautifully, making each bite flavorful and hearty. Number 4. Stuffed kohlrabi. Stuffed kohlrabi is a unique and traditional dish often found in Eastern European cuisines, especially popular in Hungarian and German cooking. Kohlrabi, a bulbous vegetable related to cabbage, has a mild, slightly sweet flavor that intensifies when cooked. It's an ideal vegetable for stuffing due to its hollow center, which can be easily scooped out to make room for a hearty filling. In traditional recipes, the filling typically consists of seasoned ground pork or beef mixed with rice, onions, and sometimes a hint of garlic or parsley for added aroma. After stuffing, the kohlrabi bulbs are placed in a pot with a light tomato or broth-based sauce that infuses the dish with a savory depth. As the stuffed kohlrabi simmers, its outer layers soften, while the filling absorbs the flavors from the broth, resulting in a perfectly tender, flavorful meal. Many cooks use the kohlrabi leaves as part of the cooking process, either layering them on top as a sort of lid or chopping them into the sauce, adding extra flavor and texture. For a touch of creaminess, some variations finish the dish with a splash of sour cream or a sprinkle of fresh herbs. Stuffed kohlrabi is often served with crusty bread or potatoes, which soak up the flavorful sauce, making it a satisfying, complete meal. Number 5. Shepherd's pie. Shepherd's pie is a traditional dish with deep roots in British and Irish cuisine, originally created to make use of leftover roasted meat. Unlike modern versions that often use ground beef, classic shepherd's pie specifically calls for ground lamb, as the name shepherd refers to sheep herders. This dish layers a savory lamb, filling with vegetables beneath a golden, creamy blanket of mashed potatoes. The base mixture is typically a blend of minced lamb, onions, carrots, and peas, all cooked together in a rich gravy made with beef or lamb stock. Worcestershire sauce, thyme, and rosemary are often added to heighten the flavor. The mashed potato layer spread on top is usually enriched with butter and cream, making it smooth and velvety, while some versions add a sprinkle of cheese, like cheddar, for an extra layer of richness. When baked, the potatoes form a slightly crispy crust that contrasts with the soft, juicy filling below. The origins of shepherd's pie date back to the 18th century, when resourceful home cooks aimed to create a filling, nutritious meal with limited ingredients. It became popular as a frugal, comforting dish that could feed the entire family, especially during difficult times. Today, shepherd's pie remains a beloved comfort food, adapted in countless ways across cultures. Number 6. Salisbury steak. Salisbury steak is a dish invented by Dr. James Salisbury, a 19th century physician who believed a diet of minced beef could improve digestive health. This dish typically consists of seasoned ground beef patties, pan-seared until they develop a flavorful crust, then simmered in a rich gravy made from beef broth and caramelized onions. A key characteristic of Salisbury steak is its use of binders like breadcrumbs or crushed crackers, along with eggs, which help maintain a tender, juicy texture even after cooking. The sauce is central to the flavor profile of Salisbury steak. Often enhanced with Worcestershire sauce, Dijon mustard, and sometimes a splash of red wine, it creates a savory, slightly tangy balance to the beef. The gravy is thickened with either flour or cornstarch and simmered until it achieves a luxurious consistency, coating each bite of the steak. Some versions incorporate mushrooms, which add an earthy depth, while others keep the focus on the onion-rich sauce. In the early to mid-20th century, Salisbury steak gained popularity as an affordable meal. Its reputation grew further during the rise of frozen TV dinners, where it was featured prominently, cementing its place as a nostalgic comfort food. The dish is usually served alongside mashed potatoes, which are perfect for soaking up the rich gravy, making every bite indulgent and satisfying. Number 7. Johnny Marzetta. Johnny Marzetta is a classic American casserole that originated in Columbus, Ohio, at Marzetti's restaurant in the early 20th century. Created by Teresa Marzetti, this dish was named after her brother-in-law, Johnny, and quickly became popular for its affordability, simplicity, and comforting taste. The main components of Johnny Marzetta include ground beef, onions, green bell peppers, and wide egg noodles, all mixed with a hearty tomato sauce and plenty of melted cheese, typically mozzarella or cheddar. What made this dish unique at the time was its adaptability and the fact that it could easily be made in large quantities, which made it a staple for family gatherings, potlucks, and church suppers across the Midwest. The casserole's ingredients could be modified based on what was available, and many home cooks added mushrooms, olives, or Italian spices to enhance the flavor. The combination of pasta, savory beef, and gooey cheese creates a well-balanced texture and taste profile, making it deeply satisfying. This dish's popularity in mid-century American households was partly due to its ease of preparation. Everything could be assembled in one baking dish with minimal cleanup required. Over the years, the recipe evolved slightly, with variations incorporating ingredients like tomato soup or condensed mushroom soup for extra creaminess. Johnny Marzetti is known for tasting even better as leftovers as the flavors meld together, making it a practical and economical option for multiple meals. Number 8. Cabbage Rolls. Cabbage rolls are a timeless comfort food, deeply rooted in Central and Eastern European cuisines, with each region adding its unique touch. Traditionally, cabbage rolls consist of large cabbage leaves that are carefully boiled to soften them for easy rolling. The filling typically features ground beef or pork mixed with rice, onions, and sometimes garlic, which provides a hearty yet balanced flavor. Some recipes incorporate fresh herbs, like dill or parsley, for a burst of freshness. To create the rolls, a portion of the filling is placed in each cabbage leaf, which is then rolled tightly to enclose the mixture. The rolls are arranged in a pot or baking dish and often topped with a savory, tomato-based sauce, which adds a rich acidity that complements the slightly sweet cabbage and savory filling. This sauce, usually made with crushed tomatoes, tomato paste, and a splash of vinegar or lemon juice, slowly infuses the rolls as they cook, resulting in tender cabbage leaves and a flavorful filling. In many traditions, cabbage rolls are slow cooked to allow the flavors to develop fully, either on the stovetop or in the oven. They're sometimes layered with sauerkraut for an added tang, enhancing the dish's complexity. Cabbage rolls are highly adaptable, and some variations replace rice with bulgur or buckwheat, making it a versatile recipe suited to different ingredients and preferences. Serving cabbage rolls with a dollop of sour cream or a side of crusty bread rounds out the dish, making it satisfying and complete. Number 9. Sloppy Joes. Sloppy Joes are an American classic known for their messy, saucy nature, combining ground beef with a tangy, slightly sweet tomato-based sauce. Originating in the 1930s, these sandwiches became popular due to their simplicity and affordability, making them a staple in school cafeterias and family kitchens. The ground beef is first browned, allowing its rich flavors to deepen, before being simmered in a mixture of ketchup, tomato paste, or even canned tomato soup, which gives Sloppy Joes their signature sauciness. The sauce often includes Worcestershire sauce for a savory depth, vinegar for a touch of acidity, and brown sugar or molasses, which adds a subtle sweetness to balance the tomato's natural acidity. Diced onions and green bell peppers are commonly sautéed with the beef, adding a mild crunch and flavor complexity. Some recipes call for a dash of mustard or hot sauce, introducing a slight kick to the flavor profile without overwhelming the dish. Sloppy Joes are traditionally served on soft, squishy hamburger buns that easily soak up the sauce, creating a hearty, messy meal that's surprisingly satisfying. This dish is highly versatile, with some variations adding other seasonings, like smoked paprika for a hint of smokiness or garlic powder for extra depth. Because of its simplicity, it's also easy to prepare in large batches, making it a popular choice for gatherings and casual dinners. Number 10. Beef and bean chili. Beef and bean chili is a rich, hearty dish that's especially popular in American cuisine, blending tender ground beef with beans and spices to create a deeply satisfying meal. This chili typically begins with browning ground beef, which adds layers of flavor through caramelization. Once the beef is cooked, onions and garlic are usually added, their flavors melding with the meat as they soften. The addition of beans, often kidney or pinto, brings a creamy texture and makes the dish more filling and nutritious. The key to great chili lies in its spice blend. Common spices include chili powder, cumin, and paprika, with some cooks adding cayenne for heat or smoked paprika for a subtle smokiness. To build complexity, some variations incorporate a touch of cocoa powder or a square of dark chocolate, which adds depth without an overt chocolate taste. Tomatoes, either canned or fresh, provide acidity and balance the dish's richness, while broth or beer can be used to enhance the liquid base. Beef and bean chili is typically simmered for at least an hour, allowing the flavors to intensify and the ingredients to fully combine. Some cooks finish the chili with a splash of vinegar or fresh lime juice, adding a pop of acidity that brightens the dish. This chili is endlessly customizable. Toppings like shredded cheese, sour cream, green onions, or fresh cilantro add color and contrast, making each bowl unique. The dish is also known for tasting even better as leftovers, as the flavors continue to blend over time. Number 11, beef and macaroni skillet. Beef and macaroni skillet is a one-pan dish that combines seasoned ground beef, tender macaroni pasta, and a savory tomato-based sauce, creating a quick, hearty meal. The dish begins by browning ground beef with onions and garlic, infusing the skillet with deep, savory flavors. Once the beef is cooked through, uncooked macaroni is added directly to the pan, allowing the pasta to absorb the sauce as it simmers, enhancing its flavor and tenderness. The sauce often includes tomato paste, diced tomatoes, or tomato sauce, seasoned with Italian herbs like basil and oregano, giving it a comforting, slightly tangy taste. A handful of grated cheese, typically cheddar or mozzarella, is stirred in at the end, creating a creamy, rich finish that melts into the pasta and beef. Number 12, Porcupine Meatballs. Porcupine meatballs are a budget-friendly dish with a unique twist. Uncooked rice is mixed directly into the ground beef mixture, which expands during cooking and pokes out like quills, giving the meatballs their distinct porcupine look. Made with a blend of ground beef, rice, diced onions, and seasonings, these meatballs are rolled and often simmered in a rich tomato sauce, which infuses the meat with a tangy depth. The rice not only adds texture, but also helps stretch the dish economically, making it perfect for feeding a crowd. Traditionally cooked in a skillet or oven, porcupine meatballs are enjoyed with a side of mashed potatoes or pasta to soak up the flavorful sauce, enhancing the comforting, home-cooked feel of this nostalgic dish. Number 13, taco pie. Taco pie is a Tex-Mex-inspired dish that layers classic taco ingredients into a savory pie form, offering a creative twist on traditional tacos. The base typically starts with a crust made from crescent rolls, tortillas, or even a cornmeal mix, which holds together a filling of seasoned ground beef, refried beans, or black beans for added texture. This beef mixture is cooked with taco spices like cumin, chili powder, and garlic, giving it a bold, robust flavor. And cheese is layered generously throughout, often a combination of cheddar or Monterey Jack, creating a creamy contrast to the spicy meat. After assembling, the pie is baked until the crust is golden and the cheese is melted and bubbly. Some variations add layers of jalapenos or diced tomatoes for extra zest. Taco pie is typically served with toppings like shredded lettuce, diced tomatoes, sour cream, and guacamole, allowing each slice to offer the full taco experience in a hearty, crowd-pleasing format. Number 14, hamburger soup. Hamburger soup is a comforting one-pot meal that combines ground beef with a variety of vegetables and a rich, flavorful broth. This soup starts by browning ground beef, which is then combined with diced onions, carrots, celery, and potatoes, creating a hearty, vegetable-packed base. To deepen the flavor, some recipes add garlic and bell peppers, while others use herbs like thyme and bay leaves for a subtle aroma. The broth is typically a combination of beef stock and canned tomatoes, which adds a balanced acidity to the soup and enhances its robust taste. Some variations include a splash of Worcestershire sauce for extra depth or a pinch of Italian seasoning to introduce a slightly herbaceous note. As it simmers, the vegetables become tender and absorb the beef's rich flavor, creating a satisfying, nutrient-dense soup. Hamburger soup is often served with crusty bread or crackers, which complement its rustic, homemade appeal and make it even more filling. Number 15, beef and noodle casserole. Beef and noodle casserole combines ground beef, tender egg noodles, and a creamy sauce, creating a satisfying layered dish. After browning the beef, it's mixed with sautéed onions and sometimes mushrooms, adding depth and texture. A key ingredient in this casserole is a creamy element, often using sour cream or a blend of cream cheese and milk, which creates a rich, velvety sauce that binds the noodles and meat together. Some recipes incorporate a can of condensed cream of mushroom or tomato soup for added flavor and convenience. The casserole is topped with shredded cheese, usually cheddar or mozzarella, and baked until golden and bubbly, with the cheese forming a slightly crispy crust on top. This dish is known for its versatility. Ingredients like bell peppers, garlic, or Italian herbs can be added, enhancing both flavor and aroma. Number 16. Tamale pie. Tamale pie is a layered casserole inspired by traditional Mexican tamales, combining seasoned ground beef, vegetables, and a cornbread topping. The ground beef is browned with onions, garlic, and taco spices, like cumin and chili powder, creating a rich, flavorful base. Black beans, corn, or chopped green chilies are often added, bringing texture and depth to the filling. This mixture is then spread in a baking dish and topped with a layer of cornbread batter, or masa harina dough, which gives the pie a soft, slightly sweet crust, similar to a tamale's masa shell. As it bakes, the cornbread topping becomes golden and slightly crisp, while the flavors meld underneath. Some versions sprinkle cheese over the top in the last few minutes of baking, adding a creamy, melted layer that contrasts with the cornbread's texture. Tamale pie is often garnished with fresh ingredients like cilantro, diced tomatoes, or sour cream, enhancing its vibrant flavors and giving it a fresh, colorful finish. Number 17. Old-fashioned beef hash. Old-fashioned beef hash is a classic frugal dish that transforms leftover ingredients into a savory, satisfying meal. Traditionally, diced cooked beef or ground beef is combined with potatoes and onions, then pan-fried until the ingredients are tender with a crisp, golden crust. The potatoes absorb the flavors of the beef as they cook, while the onions add a subtle sweetness that balances the savory elements. Seasonings like Worcestershire, sauce, salt, and black pepper are typically added, but some variations incorporate bell peppers, garlic, or even a splash of vinegar for extra depth. The key to perfecting beef hash is cooking it slowly over medium heat to allow the flavors to meld and form a delicious crust on the bottom. This crispy layer, achieved by pressing the hash into the skillet and letting it cook undisturbed, adds a textural contrast that makes each bite a flavorful combination of tender and crunchy. Old-fashioned beef hash is often enjoyed with eggs or a splash of hot sauce, adding extra richness and a slight kick. Number 18. Stuffed zucchini boats. Stuffed zucchini boats are a versatile and healthy dish that combines tender zucchini with a flavorful filling, usually centered around ground beef. To prepare, zucchini is halved lengthwise and hollowed out, creating a natural boat to hold the stuffing. The filling often includes browned ground beef mixed with onions, garlic, and a medley of Italian seasonings, like oregano and basil, giving the dish a savory depth. Tomato sauce or marinara is added to the mixture for moisture and tang, balancing the earthy flavors of the zucchini. After stuffing, the boats are topped with a sprinkle of shredded mozzarella or parmesan, which melts and creates a golden, bubbly crust during baking. The result is a flavorful, tender zucchini shell with a rich, cheesy filling that's both satisfying and light. Some variations also add rice or breadcrumbs to the filling for extra texture, while others layer in vegetables like bell peppers or mushrooms for added complexity. Number 19. Beef empanadas. Beef empanadas are a savory pastry filled with a spiced ground beef mixture originating from Spanish and Latin American cuisine. The filling typically includes seasoned ground beef combined with onions, garlic, and spices like cumin, paprika, and chili powder for depth and warmth. Many versions add small diced potatoes, olives, or even raisins for subtle sweetness, giving the filling a complex balance of flavors and textures. The beef mixture is spooned onto circles of dough, which are then folded over and sealed by crimping or pressing with a fork. The empanadas can be baked or fried until golden and crisp, with the dough forming a flaky, buttery crust around the juicy filling. Often enjoyed as a snack or light meal, beef empanadas are highly customizable, allowing for additions like hard-boiled eggs or bell peppers. They're traditionally served with a side of chimichurri or salsa, which enhances the rich, spiced beef filling and adds a fresh, zesty contrast. Number 20. Cheeseburger Casserole. Cheeseburger Casserole is a hearty, layered dish that combines the flavors of a classic cheeseburger with the ease of a casserole. The base is made from seasoned ground beef, browned with onions and garlic for extra depth, often mixed with ketchup and mustard to give that unmistakable burger tang. This mixture is then layered with pasta, typically macaroni or shells, which absorbs the flavors as it bakes, creating a filling pasta meets burger effect. A generous layer of shredded cheddar cheese is added on top, creating a melty, gooey topping that browns to a golden crust in the oven. Some recipes also sprinkle pickles or bacon bits over the cheese for added authenticity and texture, making each bite mimic a loaded cheeseburger. The casserole is both nostalgic and practical, delivering a crowd-pleasing, comfort food experience that's easy to prepare in large batches.